Canada, known for its diplomatic restraint and friendly relations with its southern neighbor, has taken an unprecedented stand. In a rare show of cross-party unity, Canadian politicians at both the provincial and federal levels are speaking out against the threats and bullying tactics of former U.S. President Donald Trump. What sparked this strong response? Ontario Premier Doug Ford, once aligned with the Maple MAGA image, has shifted dramatically, threatening to cut energy exports to the United States if Trump's aggressive rhetoric continues. Why is a nation like Canada, typically a steadfast partner of the United States, taking such a hardline stance? What does this signify for U.S.-Canada relations, and how does it reflect the broader political atmosphere under the shadow of Trump's re-emerging influence? This video explores the rising tensions, the powerful speeches by Canadian leaders, and the potential fallout if energy exports, a critical component of U.S.-Canada trade, were to be weaponized. 1. Canada's cross-party unity against Trump's threats. Historically, Canadian political leaders have often avoided direct confrontations with U.S. presidents, preferring diplomacy and tact. However, the tone has shifted dramatically in response to Trump's recent threats of economic sanctions and inflammatory rhetoric. Politicians from across Canada's political spectrum, including Ontario's Conservative Premier Doug Ford, NDP Member of Parliament Charlie Angus, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, are united in their resolve to stand up to what they describe as Trump's economic bullying. Doug Ford's stance is particularly surprising. As a conservative leader, he had previously aligned himself with Trump's populist image, earning the nickname Maple MAGA from critics. Yet, in a stark departure, Ford recently declared on CNN that if Trump continues his threats, Ontario would consider cutting off electricity exports to states like Michigan, New York, and Wisconsin, regions heavily reliant on Canadian energy imports. Ford's comments highlight Canada's willingness to use economic leverage in retaliation. "We'll use every tool in our toolbox, including cutting off the energy we're sending down there," Ford said. This is coming. It's not if, it is coming. 2. Charlie Angus, a defiant voice from the NDP. On the other side of the political spectrum, NDP MP Charlie Angus delivered a scathing critique of Trump's behavior. In a recent interview, Angus described Trump as a predator and juvenile who seeks to exploit Canada's historically diplomatic nature. He emphasized Canada's history of standing up to American overreach, from opposition to the Vietnam War to resisting U.S. attempts to deport refugees to death squads in Central America. "Donald Trump's playing for the rage algorithms," Angus said. "We're not going to be slapped around. This kind of dismissive, idiotic behavior, it's not what Canada stands for." Angus's fiery rhetoric reflects a broader sentiment of defiance among Canadians who view Trump's return to prominence as a direct threat to the integrity of their nation's sovereignty and values. 3. Doug Ford's shift from Maple MAGA to Canadian defender. Doug Ford's transformation from a Trump-adjacent figure to a vocal critic is a defining moment in Canadian politics. Just a few years ago, Ford was criticized for echoing Trump's populist playbook. Today, he is positioning himself as a defender of Canadian interests, willing to go to great lengths to protect Ontario and the country as a whole. Ford's threat to cut energy exports is not an empty one. Ontario's electricity exports are vital to several U.S. states, especially during periods of high demand. According to data, Canada supplies nearly 39 million megawatt-hours of electricity to the U.S. annually, with Ontario playing a significant role. Cutting off this supply could create serious disruptions in states that depend on Canadian energy, particularly during winter months. "My number one job is to protect Ontarians and Canadians as a whole," Ford stated. "We need to stand united as a country and work shoulder to shoulder to fight back. We've never rolled over as a country, and we won't start now." For Prime Minister Trudeau, a feminist and a diplomat. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, often known for his measured and progressive approach, has also taken a firm stance against Trump's rhetoric. In a speech highlighting the importance of gender equality, Trudeau subtly criticized the United States for failing to elect a female president while reaffirming his commitment to feminist principles. Trudeau's remarks underscore a broader critique of Trump-era politics, which many Canadians view as regressive and harmful to democratic values. Trudeau has also warned about the economic consequences of Trump's proposed tariffs, calling them harmful not just to Canada, but to the American people. Americans are now realizing just how dangerous and harmful these tariffs are going to be, he said. 5. The NDP's Jagmeet Singh, strength against bullies. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh added his voice to the chorus of Canadian politicians denouncing Trump's threats. Singh described Trump's tactics as economic bullying and emphasized the need for strength and preparedness in dealing with such behavior. The only thing bullies respect is strength, Singh said. We need to show them that we are strong and ready to fight. Trudeau has shown weakness by not having a plan in place. Canada needs a jobs war room to protect Canadian workers and families. Singh's call for proactive measures reflects a growing urgency among Canadian leaders to safeguard their nation's economic and political interests. 6. Economic implications. Energy, aluminum, and beyond. The economic stakes in this escalating standoff are significant. Canada is a critical supplier of not only electricity but also oil, aluminum, and nickel to the United States. In 2023, the U.S. imported 1.4 million barrels of Canadian crude per day, accounting for more than half of its total oil imports. Aluminum and nickel are other key exports that could be leveraged in a trade dispute. While some analysts argue that the U.S. could weather temporary disruptions, the interconnected nature of the two economies means that prolonged tensions would hurt both sides. For example, Canadian energy exports are crucial during peak demand periods, and cutting them off could lead to price spikes and supply shortages in American states reliant on cross-border power flows. 7. The broader political context. Trump's global influence. Trump's influence extends far beyond U.S.-Canada relations. By hosting leaders like Hungary's Viktor Orbán and praising far-right figures, Trump signals a global alignment with authoritarianism. Canadian leaders are acutely aware of this trend and view it as a threat to democratic norms worldwide. Trump's economic policies, such as his praise for Argentina's austerity measures, are equally troubling. With Argentina facing a 52% poverty rate, Trump's endorsement of such measures raises concerns about the potential impact of similar policies in North America. Canada's defiance against Trump's bullying tactics marks a turning point in its relationship with the United States. Leaders from across the political spectrum, from Doug Ford to Charlie Angus to Justin Trudeau, are united in their resolve to protect Canadian interests and values. This unity reflects a broader consensus among Canadians that Trump's rhetoric and policies are unacceptable and must be met with strength and determination. As tensions escalate, the potential for economic and political fallout looms large. Canada's energy exports, vital to U.S. states, could become a powerful bargaining chip in this standoff. At the same time, the confrontation highlights the broader struggle between democratic values and the authoritarian tendencies embodied by Trump and his allies. For Canadians, this moment is about more than trade or politics. It is about defining their nation's identity in the face of external pressures. By standing up to Trump, Canada is asserting its independence and resilience, proving that even in turbulent times, it will not be bullied into submission. The world is watching, and Canada is ready to lead by example.